Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moohead Radio Cleveland Browns halftime report with the game over 21-3 Ravens. I'm sitting here kind of laughing about this because what you see is what you see, and I can go over it with you if you need your handheld. Um, the defense turns out to be the same guys without character, some different guys without character. They've been worn down. And this is how you find out what you're made of. And, things were rolling really good for the Browns through the first couple of games of the year. But this looks really very similar to what we've seen in the past from a defensive standpoint. And I have a few ideas why that might be the case. But first, I want to talk about DTR and the news that came out today about fluid around the rotator cuff of Deshaun Watson. DTR by in no way, shape, or form is ready to play an NFL game. He's never faced this kind of speed before in a game, and he's been put in the worst possible position that he could be put in, which is with a mongoloid idiot head coach and play designer who just decided, well, we're just going to run the same offense with him as we do with a seasoned veteran quarterback, and just watch him panic in the backfield. And that's basically what's happened. It's what I told you would happen if the Browns followed that course of action. The Browns are not throwing outside the numbers. The Browns are only throwing in the middle of the field, which resulted in the first interception, and they're never going to complete passes. DTR has no arm strength to throw the ball a distance, yet he's tried to on a couple of occasions, embarrassingly so. Being lined up in a situation where the running game was never used, where pass after pass was being called, DTR panicking by lateraling the ball for no apparent reason, or winding up extra hard and throwing the ball so hard it caromed 15 feet in the air and allowed the Ravens in the opening part of the game to get a turnover, throwing behind receivers. The speed of the game is just simply too much for him. But what I will say is this, and I'll give a pass to DTR, because how many fifth-round rookie quarterbacks who find out 5 days before the game's going to be played that they are going to be the quarterback, basically, and they have to run with the ones for the first time? He has no chemistry with anybody at full speed. People were pimping him because of the preseason. I keep telling people that it's 50% speed, 75 at best, and it does not even remotely emulate a professional football game speed. And you can see the happy feet, the panicky kind of action that DTR is going through right now, because he's just never seen this before. It's a different animal, and it's a huge step up. And he's been put in the worst position he could possibly be put in by a head coach who just refuses to do anything to change his scheme. He just does what he does. It's unfortunate for the young quarterback, because this is how quarterbacks fail in the NFL, and maybe they're meant to, but you got to play at this kind of speed. The thing that's much more eye-opening to me is how the defense has just given up. They let Andrews into the end zone off the line of scrimmage clean. He is the single player who has beaten the Browns every single game they've played in the 6-1 streak. For Lamar Jackson, Andrews has won every single game for them. And how they could let him off the line of scrimmage clean, I have no idea. He ran unaccosted across the line of scrimmage and just ran a simple out into the end zone. And there we are playing zone defense, and we're looking like the Browns of old. Our guys are tired. Myles Garrett is breathing hard. And because we have no offense, this is where character comes in, conditioning and character. And not seeing either, to be very honest with you, so many 3-and-outs for the Browns, and the defense has to make plays. Not doing it. The Ravens, on the other hand, their coaching staff has found the missing link for them to get their running game going with a bunch of nobody running backs, because the Browns defense obviously is kind of like a fighter who drops his left hand after he jabs and is vulnerable to a counter right hand. What I see with my eyes in the first half is that they have changed their attack running the ball against the Browns, and the Browns have no answer for it. And we're going to see coming out in the second half, even though the game is over, we'll see if the Browns do anything to change that. But giving up over 100 yards rushing in the first half to the Baltimore Ravens just doesn't work. And nobody would have thought that would have happened. But the bottom line is the Browns look defeated. The stadium is quiet. Does this sound familiar? And the team that has beaten them 6 out of 7 times is going to make it 7 out of 8 because they own us physically. This is the problem for an organization trying to build its way back up. It's one thing to be a front runner. And if your offense is able to get first down, stay on the field, drive the ball, put up some points, and your defense is not on the field all the time, then your defense can play full bore straightforward. But what happens when they play like that and the offense gets the ball back, goes 3-and-out time and time again? And the answer is they break down. And the charging, overly aggressive defense that has been so great for the Browns over the course of their first 3 games of the season has actually worked against them because they are being countered by a more intelligent coaching staff. And I will be blunt about it. It isn't that Harbaugh is anything special, but he always gets the job done. Stefanski, on the other hand, never gets the job done. And this is a massive problem. And I'm going to go as far as saying that even if Deshaun Watson were playing, it would be the same result because they seem to have our number. And yes, it helps that a rookie quarterback who's never played before is behind the helm for the Browns. But Amari Cooper hasn't gotten his hands on the ball. Elijah Moore is running in the wrong direction. They really look like a bunch of panic-stricken fools to me. That's what it looks like. And, I'm not going to sit here and complain the better team is winning. What I will promise is that Joe Shipley will never be on the program again because he had an opportunity to be on the podcast on Friday and made some horseshit excuse. And then I saw that he was trying to create a ruckus in the chat room. You're not welcome here again. We're here to talk serious football, not to talk trash. And if anybody knows me in the least, I will give credit when the Cleveland Browns are outplayed. And unfortunately, it's been far too frequently in the 21 years that I've been doing these programs. So it is what it is. What can the Browns do to change things? The only thing I can think of is to get themselves mentally back in the game and to get their defense charged up. We've lost our center, and we don't know what's wrong with him. And if somebody knows, you can put it, up in the chat room. But he just walked off the field. When somebody walks off the field without going to the tent, that's not good news. It could be a concussion. It could be any number of things. A chest injury. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. But when a guy does that, you know that there's a problem. Nick Harris is now manning the center position for the Browns. And this is what it amounts to. And this is what the Browns have to prove or not prove is in our division, we have 2 opponents who are very physical. The Steelers, who are getting their ass kicked right now, and the Bengals, who are getting their ass kicked right now. All right? The Bengals are not a physical team. They're a skill set team, but they're not physical. The Cleveland Browns are not a physical team either, and they get manhandled by the Steelers and the Ravens year after year after year. And I'm happy with the job that our defensive coordinator has done in a short period of time. But it takes a long time to create a culture, and we're regressing right before our very eyes. Our team is just regressing into what it was, which is just getting run over at the line of scrimmage. It's unfortunate. And this appears to be the case to me too. The players have stopped playing with intensity. And, the same thing you knew was going to happen. Lamar Jackson just trots out of the pocket and he has all day and he just flings it down the field. And the defender, Martin Emerson, MJ Emerson, he just did what he wasn't supposed to do, which was he was eyeing the backfield and his man broke free. This is all the stuff we talked about before the show. And all of it has come to pass, and in a bad way for the Cleveland Browns. You can't put your hopes on a rookie quarterback who's thrown into a situation like this. My question is, if Deshaun Watson had played, would it be the same exact story? And I have a feeling it would. It wouldn't be so ugly offensively. We might have gotten 10 points instead of 3 points, but they still would have found the countermeasure to our running defense, and they would have used our aggressiveness against us by cutting back against and misdirecting. And it's something that I've been concerned about. It's just unfortunate to see this happen. I think we're all worried about the defense and whether it's been exposed or not. And yeah, we do have a week off next week, assuming that the fluid and the MRI of Deshaun Watson's the rotator cuff isn't something. I mean, fluid represents a tear. I'm sorry. If something has gone wacky in there, I know of what I speak because when fluid gets into the knee cavity, and I've got a bad knee and it swells up, some kind of trauma has caused that. In my case, it would be arthritis alone, but not in his case. And we know he took a blunt force trauma to that shoulder. So the real question is, what happened to his shoulder? And they're not telling us that. I'll say one other thing about Mary Kay Cabot, who is just a joke. 5 hours before the announcement that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play, she has the big bold headline that he's going to play. Now, she's lying. I don't want people calling themselves journalists, let alone letting these people into a hall of fame of journalism predicated on whatever longevity they've had, printing a bunch of lies and then charging the public for a portal or for a paywall so that they can just pitch the company line. The Browns knew how bad this shoulder was because they knew, believe me, $250 million quarterback, they knew that there was, fluid in that throwing shoulder. They knew that. They knew he wasn't going to play. And they made sure right up until the last second, like they were fooling somebody. And there's Mary Kay to carry water for him. It's pathetic. I'm getting out of here. I'll see you after the game. And let's hope that we at least look like a football team. So I'll see you on the postgame show. Bye-bye.